So Barth, what are we looking at here?
So what we're folding here is the cap and sides getting ready for the winter ahead. They're cut out of 1.6mm plate and they're folded, going through the. You have two different folding operations in the one go. So you're getting all your folds done without ever changing tooling. It's a compress them and fold them as we go. They're a heavy duty pin and they're long lasting wearing. But what we'll do now next is they'll go for welding and then on to galvanizing after that again, and they'll be ready for months ahead then for the sales.
So what's this machine called?
This is the brake press here, so it's used for folding anything up to 10mm plate, so go from 1.6mm plate up to about 10mm. It's about 3 years old now, so it's.
And what sort of pressure
machine.
would it be applying there?
To take up to 200 ton off the top of my head. But, yeah, she can fold up to 3.6 meters long.
Okay.
So it's a decent machine.
And all pre-programmed then, is every
There's two other brake presses then. They're used for different parts as well. So there's different tooling, we'll say, to suit different requirements. The aluminium wares, the cap and all that. See, they'll be folding 5mm and 6mm plate as well, we'll say, a lot of pieces like that.
What's he doing there?
That's just venting for galvanizing. So what we're doing is, if we don't vent them, the galvanizing get trapped in the top corner and you cause a pocket in them. Right. So what we do is just vent and the galvanizing can flow through it then. So you get, it's an easier process for galvanizing.
How many will you fold in an hour there typically?
He'll get through about 60 in an hour. Like.
60 in an hour, okay.
Yeah.
Very good. An expensive machine that?
That's a bit of money, but it's worth it. Like it's output out of it is very good now. Like
before you got that, did you do something similar?
We just had the old machines above, so there was, as time was going by, the tooling was getting more and more worn. So we got all this is new tooling for this machine and new electronics as well.
And all operated from his leg here.
Yeah, and she's censored in as well, so you can't put your hands in. So she's censored, we'll say, so you can't get your hands into the machine. Right. It's safety cut-offs and all that as well. Like, so
you're folding these way?
These are getting going, there's some already gone up for welding now, so these are aluminium wares ready for the TAMS grants. And we're...
The same machine fold this?
Yeah, all the machine, fold on.
So these are all ready for...
They're all ready to go to welding now. When we'll be starting off welding, they'll be taken over, we say pallet by pallet. There's a good quantity of them. So they're the cap and sides, and then there's cap and fronts are yet to be folded. So
how many in a pallet there?
There's 420 in total to go through, so that'll keep the lad busy for a bit anyway, welding.
Very good.
Same machine.
Barth, what machine is this?
This is the plasma machine here for cutting plate. We cut a lot of 10mm, anything 10mm down to 1.6, cut 12mm as well. It's a great machine, very handy in terms of you can cut out the different shapes. You can cut bespoke shapes, we'll say, for all the different jobs. It's a pretty good machine now.
If you didn't have this machine, how would you do it?
We'd have to outsource, we'll say, for different companies. You'd go for laser probably and outsource, we'll say. Whereas the plasma finish is fine for what we're doing in most cases. Like we can do a finer cut as well with the laser if necessary, if required.
How old is the machine?
The machine is over 20 years, about 20 years old, but it's a newer controller with it, so it's been upgraded as the years have gone by. So the programming and the controllers have been upgraded, but the main machine itself is in about 20 years.
And is it all AutoCAD files feeding into that?
Yeah, it's all AutoCAD with it. So we do them above in the office and then bring them down here and then they cut into the shape.
How does it cut? Is it electric or gas?
It's a gas cut. Right. So we'll say once we do the drawing above in the office, we just bring them down here on this, and it will cut the parts in, we'll say, so it's suitable for all the off-standard jobs. So you can get one piece, we'll say, you can just cut each individual bespoke job will actually has its own drawing and everything, so it can be filed and followed through.
So in terms of minimising waste and all that, that's where the drawing comes in, I presume.
Yeah,
so that we can make the maximum use of every plate.
Maximum use of all the plates, all the sheet. You can put them together as well, we'll say. And
what kind of a wastage factor would you have?
Be low percentage-wise, to be about 3%.
Single digits.
Yeah, to be single digits in terms of plate. Like, it would be these would be one of the better ones, we'll say.
Barth, what's this over here?
So this is the auto punch here. She's used for punching plate. And usually parts, we'll say up to about 3mm thick is what it's best at.
Right.
It's computer programmed over there, so we just do our programs in the office and then bring them down here and fill all the function. Actually, probably
some of these examples?
No, they're after the plasma. There's probably parts above the guillotine if you want to see them above there. Okay. We can just take a shot of them above there. Pretty
and part
good
and
machine.
part in the whole process?
Yeah, the machine that's used fairly often now in terms of what it can produce. Because you have a rotating head in it, so you can produce, you can put in 6 different punches, and she can basically punch different size holes as you go through the sheet, and cut them all out. So.
Okay, very good. You have a big rolling machine here a bit?
Yeah, it's just a rolling plate, so you go 2.5 meters wide.
What would you roll in that?
Be a lot of parts, we'll say, in terms of wash tanks and different parts like that. We'll say wash tanks and different industrial parts as well. We do for a lot of companies. So we put them through the rollers and just feed them through. Then you'd have templates to say to check them off.
So this is what's left then from your plasma cutter?
Yeah, the plasma cutter there, the waste that's left over.
And you were saying roughly what waste typically would you want? Minimum waste? Maximum waste?
3%, I'd say roughly, like per sheet is what it would be. You're trying to keep it down as much as possible, so we might cut some of them parts. You try and get lugs cut with them. We say small lugs as well cut with them. We say in the one go.
With something like this now, does it go to the scrap?
If you go straight for scrap, yeah. So it's sold by weight, then we say back into the
sell back into the system or whatever.
Yeah. You melt it down again.
What do we have
here? So what we have here is these are crushed poles. They're being welded out. We're saying ready to go. They'll be getting ready for galvanizing. Probably going on Friday's load. They're just a single lug, we'll say, with a hole. So they're being welded out.
What welding system is used here? How are they being welded?
We have a jig system, so you'll place your 2 lugs, we'll say, on the pole, tack them, and then weld them out.
Yeah.
And they're MIG welded, and they're fully welded all the way around to seal them from the galvanizing, so they're fully sealed for the galvanizing. What we have here is just a bespoke job, so it's being welded out, we'll say, to suit customer requirements. They're all special link gates, so there's 3-bar gates, sheeted gates, a mixture of all the jobs.
Okay. So all pipes in?
All pipes notched and vented, so it's a vented for the galvanizing, so the galvanized can flow in and flow out of the pipes.
Yeah.
And won't get caught. Yeah, in the small little vent hole there.
There's for galvanized drop out after this.
Drop out, yeah. Keeps it clear, yeah. So the galvanized will flow through the part. It'll be fully galvanized on the inside and the outside of the pipe.
Right.
So you won't have any corrosion from any side of it.
Okay.
So these are copos. They're moving barriers which are being welded out.
How popular are they?
They're getting more and more popular. We're selling more and more of them every year. There's a lot now. This year so far, there's a lot of them going out.
And why are people using them?
They're convenient for feeding. So the cows will say they'll move the barrier out to for the silage. So if you put enough, we'll say a sheer block of silage in front of them, the cow will push out to meet the silage. You don't have to come along afterwards, we're saying, with your wheel or whatever to push it back in. So it saves a lot of time and effort. So a lot of people will feed, we'll say, for 3 days, maybe 4 days, possibly even more.
Yeah.
And then the cows will actually move the barrier out to meet them rather than having to push it back in.
How long will it take to make one of them there now?
It's about 3 hours. We'll say we make the components separately. Yeah. So then just weld out the barrier itself, we're talking about maybe going up to 3 hours.
Right, okay. So everything is timed within reason, you know.
For these are off standard ones now, but for a standard we say there's a set time, and then for off standard then we have an average time going across the meat.
And a crane then is used for...
You have a gantry crane in overhead to lift everything. So you've...
no manual lifting one?
No, we try to eliminate as much as possible. Yeah. It will be required, well, very little required, so it'll be always, we'll say, use the gantry crane as much. And we'd have a jig then for everything, so everything kind of lands on a jig and can be held in location and then lifted off by the crane. In other jigs then we'd have rotating, so you can actually turn them over without ever having to lift them off with the crane. So their parts now that came off the auto punch, they'll be used for the copos as well.
That's off the punchable also, is it?
Yeah, the punch. So they came off, they're punched and brought up then for the guillotine for splitting.
Right.
So they're they're the standard 4.6 meter barriers. We say we do 2 types of barriers, or just 2 types of diagonal barriers. They'd be the bespoke ones, and then there's the standard ones. The standard ones, they'd be 4.6 meters long to suit the standard of the shed. So if we have a rotating jig for that, so you can actually load all your jigs and then we'll say rotate it then to weld both sides.
Makes it easy to handle.
Yeah, and lift her off then with the height.
Okay, yeah.
You can get get your length of box there and cut to specified length as well with this, so we order them direct from the mill.
Okay. And when you say bespoke, you're just dealing with
whatever's required on,
sizes or
whatever's required on site with this. So if there's maybe a 4 metre or a 6 metre, we can do either.
Yeah.
We go up to about 6.6 metres, which is usually about the longest galvanising. And then after that, you go down to any size you want really in between. We cut them off. There's another shed above. We're actually welding them in as well, so you better see them above. So there's
an overhead gantry running the full way.
Full length, yeah, both sides of the shed. You can take stuff in and take stuff out. You can take material in and material out. There, the bale of material there, he's down to the last two there that's coming in. So these are the off-standard barriers up here in this area. They're bespoke, we say one-offs for every for customers.
Yeah.
So we kind of gather them together, we'll say, and do, I think there's ones of 60 there to do now in this job. So they're bases.
Say 12 months of the year typically?
Yeah, you are pretty much around the clock now.
Irish market export?
All Irish market. Well, these lot are all for the Irish market. There's about, I'd say maybe 20 different jobs, we'll say, gathered into one, we'll say, work order. We do, so we get the 100 by 50, we'll say, is cut. We cut it to suit the length. And then we'll say we're putting on our base, then we'd have a different base height, we'll say, for different customers to suit whatever requirements they have on site, and different lengths then we'll say. We'd have all the jigs, we'll say, for the diagonals, and then we'll say they're loaded in and just welded out. So if your gantry overhead then lift off again and swing around over to here.
So she's doing 360 unlike the other one?
She will, yeah, she'll more or less go around. And then you've got no base in them barriers now, but you can get them with a base as well, we'll say, which you can put your timbers onto. And you have your latches. Sweeper in just for cleaning up. Yeah, that comes in on Saturday. We usually do full clean out on Saturday, and if it's required in between, then we'll say if we're changing over jobs, we clean up the area then as well, and keep it clean as well.
From the time of order to the time of delivery, what are the timelines?
At the moment, you're looking about 8 weeks roughly at the moment. It depends, and once the drawings are approved, if there's drawings to clarify and approve, it's just around that at the moment anyway. So we keep,
Barth, you've a trailer back here, so from the galvanisers.
Back from galvanising, so
how long would that have taken, say,
about 2. We're doing 2 trailers a week.
Right.
So it can tonnage would be getting rid of every Tuesday and Friday we do a load.
Okay.
So we'd send in.
So dropping a load, are you collecting a load at the same time?
At the same time, yeah. So we'd send in a load of black with the material, self-colour material, and that'll go into galvanising. We say today, you'll be back out Friday morning.
Okay.
And then we'll say we have another load in, we'll say Friday morning ready to go in, and back out Tuesday. So
they're all numbered then, or whatever, or the welded number.
That's following through on the sales order number for the customer. So all their standard barriers that they're welded above. So that's a continuation of the work order.
Yeah.
But they're all relevant to the customer's sales order number. So once the starts in the system, they're followed through by that and traced through with that number. You have various different parts. So you have a mixture of stock and we'll say galvanized and off-standard parts, we'll say, in the trailer. So we'd have a mixture. So you'd have to take them down, we'll say, and break them down and get them ready for the customer for dispatch again. So.
Is that your black steel coming in?
That's black steel. That's more of a just after coming in there from the mill or from one mill as well. So we've the special lengths of boxer, and we say that we bring in for the off-standing barriers. So they'll come in. We get a delivery every month, 2 months.
So you're a big buyer of black steel as well?
We would, yeah. We buy from.
Buying it from abroad? Or you buying
most of it's actually coming from located locally, we say, inside in Cork, and then more of it comes from the Northern Ireland as well.
Okay. So where is the steel manufactured typically?
It's various, usually Turkey, could be, most of it comes from Turkey or else Northern Ireland, I think, is where they're singing the most of it. Yeah. We'd have the galvanised pipe then for the cubicles, that's coming in from Germany.
Right.
So up here is one of the storage areas for the finished products, so before they're dispatched out. So you've got your diagonal barriers, your hinge, top of butt wall barriers, all your self-locking stalls, your gates, crushed panels, crushed gates, every sort of part, kind of a lot of them go up here and they can be taken down then by the forklifts and get ready onto the truck and out to the customers.
So is this stock or is it specifically for customers?
It's a mixture. Majority of it is, all this is just stock. It's a standard product, we'll say, and the customers can draw down as required, we'll say.
Right. Roughly what percentage of your business is standard, say, stuff to hold on the shelf versus customised?
To be about probably 70-30, I suppose, really. About 70% to be stock. A standard product, we'd say, what we consider a standard product, whereas 30% in would be a standard, we'd say, bespoke for that customer.
Right.
So we'd make it up specially for them, we'll say. But it'd be usually just a variation of, we'll say, a standard, an off-standard, or a standard linked, we'll say. So we'd special link to suit the customer requirements.
And historically over the years, would it be fair to say that you'll be building your stock in the summer months like we are here now?
Yeah, you're getting ready for, like, you don't have time to build stock
whatever.
in your winter season, like you'd have to have everything kind of built going into the winter as much as possible.
And in recent years it's probably been flatter as the demand has been strong?
Demand has been very strong now over the last 2 to 3 years, so it's been tougher and tougher to try and get stock built and to, we'll say, get it ready for the customer, like, but we're getting through it now. Getting through it. Yes. It's always something. So they're all flipping drinkers.
They're all your
drinkers.
Yeah,
ready to go. Yeah, they'd have been down there. So we use 4-foot flipping drinkers, and there's a 2 meter, and then you've got your 4-foot stainless steel tanks, 2-foot stainless steel tanks, and your protectors in for the tanks.
Right.
So kind of, they're all, these two are two tipping tanks. So they're easy if they get fouled or if dirt gets in the water, you can just tip them out and they'll fill again and keep it clean. So then we've more just raw material over here, and that's we say our supply of material in for the cubicles. So we bring that in from Germany. We bring in probably 3 different sizes of piping just to suit the different cubicles. So we'd run from 5'9" up to about 7'6" in cubicles. So it depends what the customer requirements. Every 3-inch adjustments, we'll say, to suit the beds inside the cubicle shed.
How many different design cubicles would you have in terms of names? Like,
we'd have about 3 different types of cubicles, like varying. You do your Rowan link cubicles, and then you have your super loop cubicles, and you have 2 different types of that. We'll say you've got 900, or you've got your wall type and your channel type, or your wall type and your universal cubicle.
right.
So depending on what the customer requires, and basically the setup required on site.
Okay. And would the customer know what they want, or
usually on sales, the sales will guide them on what they want and what will suit best and what will give them the best value of what they'll want. We'll say. So every shed will be slightly different, but we just have different setups to suit them.
The gate with the wheel below then?
Yeah, that's probably around the parlour yard. So to be just for guiding cattle or moving around. Usually, like that gates, they're probably about 7-8 meters long, which would be like they're longer than your galvanizing tank, but we just split them then to suit, and then they're bespoke now for a customer. We say they're going out there.
Your roll to mat and your rubber?
They're ready to, they're going out for a customer, so they're coming in from Germany, and they can be cut to size, or else they can go out in the full roll. They're the Huber roll.
The Hoover brand?
Hoover brand, yeah.
How long are you selling that?
I think it's over 15 years now, so it's a very popular mat, and it's getting more and more now. Everyone's like this, every cubicle house now is going in with it. There's no, once you have a solid roll of the mat, we'll say you don't less dirt around the cows when they're lying in the bed and everything like.
So Barth, what's been made here?
This is the assembly and pipe bending area. So what we're doing, we're finishing off the products that have come back from galvanizing. They're being put together now and assembled, ready for to go out to the customer. And then you've got your 2 pipe bending machines. So they're bending 6'9" cubicles at the moment. The piping, we say, it's a 60 or the 3.65 wall, fully galvanized pipe. So there's a heavy pipe, and we're going through this. The auto drill is what the machine is going through first.
Can we have a look at it? So close up.
Here to have a look. So the piping will come in the bales, and then it'll be taken off and put onto the automatic drill. So it'll drill the first hole and then move it on a certain distance, we'll say that's pre-recorded.
What are we drilling here for now? So is that the barriers?
This is for the wall cubicles they're drilling. Right. So the hole will be drilled down through there, we'll say, down to the side of it. Right. And then once it's finished with the drilling, then it'll be taken over to the saw.
So what's happening here is...
So the pipe is being loaded here into the pipe bender. So once you set it up then, and you'll set it up for universal or for wall. So it'll take in the pipe then, and load it in, and once it takes it in, then it'll start bending it to the shape. You can go get your pipe in for the pipe ready pipe benders. So you're going through the saw as well.
All hydraulics here, is it?
Yeah, this machine is all hydraulics. So it will turn it over itself as well with the pipe bender, so it's rotating head in it.
Right.
So
all control in the front head.
All control, yeah. So you've got your program pre-selected into it. So once you select your program, it will automatically follow through and it will tell you your quantity as well as say what's required. So keep rotating.
What's the length of a pipe going in there?
They'll be 4.5 roughly, 4.5 metres long. Right. So for every cubicle we say there's a specified foot length. So we'd do different batch quantities of each.
And no shattering here then on the bend?
It's fully galvanized certified.
Yeah.
It's a certified pipe for bending, so it's 3.65 watts. It's a heavy pipe.
Yeah.
You get the extra couple of years out as well after galvanized, and it's fully galvanized. So to release it in, once the pipe is bent, it releases it out of the bender.
Yeah. So if we look at the drill over here, so
yeah, I'm walking over here.
So she's grabbing it and all then?
She'll clamp it and moving on to specified centres. So once it's pre-programmed into the machine, it'll just take it in, drill down the first hole and watch the way it drops for this in the hollow of the centre of the piping out. It drops down to that at a different speed. Once it's through this first layer of piping, it drops to the second one and then stops before it meets it and then drops the second. Slows down to drill the second one.
So before a machine like this, how would you have done it? Were you done manually?
All drilled by hand, yeah. So there was a lot of work in him. So you'd have to bend all your cubicles, take them out in and put them through another drill. So there'd be a lot of work on them.
Yeah.
Like your time would be...
No punching, pre-punching or anything like that for a drill, so
no,
makes life easy.
Straight through, yeah. Like you can do any size hole in it and any size... you can move along centres as well if you want in the machine.
Okay.
So
is this all AutoCAD again job or more just
you can
dimensions?
Just program on it as the machine itself, so you can do all your control rods for your self-locking stalls and everything. So it adds a lot.
Is there much maintenance on a machine like that?
Usually maybe once a year we get a maintenance to just break it down, just mainly just to keep the store. It stores all the different programs, so there's a battery backup as well, so it has to be kept going and all that.
Yeah. Very good. And this machine here then
just
again?
Just a chop saw, we say for cutting them to the link, so we set up a stop and basically chop them to the link that's required.
Yeah.
So every cubicle we say is a different size, so we just move your stops along as it goes through.
We might have a look at the head locking barrier over here as it's been made.
Yeah. So they're just putting together these ultra-safe stalls. They're the ultra-safe self-locking stalls. So they're putting the clamp pipe there into them. There's an extra reach in these because the actual part of it will open back. So the cow can put her head out more. So once the control rod goes in, you would say the cow can use more area for the cow to actually put her head and her neck out, so she can reach out farther into the silage.
Okay.
So they're just putting it together and they'll put the lock on and all that. So you've got they'll be got out to different customers in the sales are required.
And say, would you sell more of these than you would of the standard?
No, the self-locking stalls. Yeah, big one now.
And that's a customer request again here now, is it?
Well, these ones are stock. So you sell a certain amount of them as a standard bay, but the Arnie, the swing over self-locking stall would be a lot more popular, a lot more.
So added safety with the likes of this, is it?
You've added safety and added reach to the safety animals, so you don't have to fight back in the silage. They'll reach an extra into the 8 inches, we'll say, or further into the feed package, so it gives you an extra benefit.
And this machine here?
This is just the pipe bender, so we're getting ready to bend the 26 pipe. So she's an in-C machine, so you have to tell that, we'll say what to do in terms of in and out and bend. Turn over. This is automatic.
That's more automated.
She's a CNC, so she's computer generated. This one is just manual, we'll say. Yeah. More manual machine.
How old is something like that?
She's a lot older. She's
probably
about 30 years old, more like.
Yeah. But still
that's
functioning
actually being that one is being replaced now with Shockley, so there's a new pipe benders coming in.
Yeah. Big investments.
Yes. Would necessary, I suppose, to keep things ticky over.
Yeah.
So up here then is the self-locking stalls, the standard 4.6 metre base. So they're being got ready for assembly as well.
Yeah.
So we load up all the components onto them, and then we say once they're assembled, then they're taken out. So this.
Cool.
So you've got So this is just a work in progress area. So as the parts are coming out of the assembly shed, they're put over here and then moved into their shelving area where they're stored in for until they're ready to go to the customer.
Okay. A lot of headlocking bars. Say the crushers themselves, you'd sell quite a lot of them in here.
Yeah.
To co-ops and stuff as well, maybe.
You have co-ops and you have the individual farmers and you have between the parlour with your races and all that. So you need them to go whenever they want to buy a customer. You have to have them ready to go because they're going into concrete. Yeah. So there have to be basically if the customer requires them. That's it.
Your brackets for your troughs, are they?
Yeah, they're for your flipping drinkers. So we do a batch of them, a couple of batches of them in a year, and just have them ready to go for the just to go with the stainless steel part in. Okay. So up here then is the cubicle storage area. We did all the different types and different lengths, different sizes. You have your wall over there, and you have your universal here. So you have everything from 5'9". 6 foot, 6'3", 6'6", 6'9", all the way up long for 7'6". Right. Different areas. And again, the time of orders, say in terms of cubicles from the time of order to delivery, typically about 2 to 3 weeks, like depending on what's required. Yeah. It just depends different times of the year. I suppose the demand gets more from such a case. Right. Trying to get a stock of them to. Do you fit the cubicles, or does the farmer do it? No, we fit the cubicles as well. Yeah. So as required. An option for farmers if they want it or not. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, very good.